Okay, 2006 would be the last time Star Fox would see some attention until the release of Star Fox Zero on the Wii U a few months back. Was it a result of waning popularity? Did this game have something to do with the dry spell? I didn't know, I never played this one until now, and this was the one I knew very little about. Like, the most I got out of it before this video was witnessing a few friends in my first year of college playing the game when it was still a new release. Multiplayer seemed like a pretty big deal with Star Fox Command, as up to 5 players could suit up in their own R-Wing and shoot each other down, but that's sort of an impossibility now with Nintendo's Wi-Fi connection being permanently shut down, leaving single player the only real means of getting action in this title. Now there's a download play option, but trying to get just even one person with a Nintendo DS is laughable. Lest I want to knock on some random neighbor's doors to see if they have a Nintendo DS and want to spend some time on Star Fox Command. Nah, I'll stick with single player for this video, and I'm going to start there before heading into the plot of this game. Is that cool? Alright then. So if you remember when I was covering Star Fox 2, I explained that during an interview with Dylan Cuthbert, one of the main programmers of the original Star Fox and director of this game I'm about to cover, a fully completed version of Star Fox 2 does actually exist, and he was given a copy of it to study and play while developing Star Fox Command. Now Star Fox 2 will most likely never see release because of legal issues between Nintendo and the now defunct Argonaut Games, but it's very clear that Star Fox 2 was a major inspiration for this game. It's the closest we'll ever get. But I wanted to tackle the controls firstly. It's a first-party Nintendo flagship title on a gimmicky handheld, and that means Nintendo feels they need to use that gimmick, goddammit. Basically, it's Star Fox controls, but you use the touchscreen for everything, except the fire button. You can use any button for that one. The triggers, face buttons, even the D-pad. I'm guessing that was to compensate for both right and left-handed players, so it's understandable. And you know what? The touchscreen controls aren't that bad, I think. Using the stylus to steer your ship and aim your shots feels pretty good, and accurate to boot. I never had an issue where my target reticle was going one way while my ship was going another. There are dedicated buttons for the somersault and U-turn, which are easily discernible. About the only issues I had concerned the boost and brake. You have to double tap the top of the radar to boost, while double tapping the bottom of the screen gives you the brakes. It's the only part of the control scheme that feels intrusive. Given the sheer dedication they had to an all touchscreen control style, I think having the speed options labeled with dedicated buttons would have been easier to digest, particularly in those frantic dogfights. As far as physical concerns, my hands did experience some cramping after about an hour of game time, so take those breaks when necessary. It's easier on the joints than Prime Hunters or Kid Icarus Uprising by default, I should stress. Except during this asshole, fuck this fish. There's no transforming mechs, but gameplay is all R-Wing, so rejoice Star Fox veterans. As you continue playing, and depending on the story routes you take, multiple characters can be available. They each come equipped with their own R-Wing, packing their own special attributes. For example, Fox, Falco, Wolf, and Crystal can charge their homing lasers to incredibly painful levels, leaving nothing behind when you launch it. Characters like Slippy, Leon, or Panther can't charge their lasers, but their default weapons let you easily perform crowd control on surrounding threats. Panther I fucking love. His rate of fire is pathetic, but that one projectile is like a shotgun with a massive hitbox. It destroys single targets in no time at all, even bosses, whenever you actually fight one. Most, if not all, stages are in all-range mode, where the objectives are minimalistic, to describe it one way. As the stage begins, you guide your character's icon to the enemy's mother base, intercepting clusters of bad guys along the way, which could mean destroying a small number of certain types of enemies, ramming into this mothership using a barrel roll, or chasing down a missile and blasting it out of the sky. While doing this, you're also protecting the Great Fox, your HQ. If so much as one small fry reaches the damn thing, it explodes, and that's game over. I could have sworn this thing had a defensive laser of some sort. Granted, you can pick up missiles on the map to give it some form of defense, but sheesh, don't be such a bitch, Rob. You also have a limited number of turns to complete the whole stage. You can get more turns by destroying mother bases, but an important element in Star Fox Command is knowing where to position your characters and prioritizing objectives. I was kind of scared at first, thinking this was going to be some sort of real-time strategy game of the sort, but no, it's really nothing to worry about. You just drag your ship like so with a stylus and shoot bad guys down. On certain maps, you may even face a boss, who will challenge you in some fashion, but with the sole exception of the final boss's true form, nothing here will make you run for your money. But amongst my problems with Star Fox Command, the biggest one is how the structure shows you virtually everything it has to offer within the first 30 minutes of the game. The variety in missions is painfully small. What I've demonstrated is really all this game has to offer, and yes, it's potentially cool when you can approach a certain objective differently with another character to either make it easier for yourself, or if you want an extra challenge. If you really want to do that, try using Leon to shoot a missile down because he fucking sucks at it. The problem is that all depends on the story routes you choose, because you won't always get the character you want for what lies ahead, and that could be a part of the challenge, I guess, but it's still no different than the shit you did about 5 times in the last map, and here I am doing it again. Shooting enemies down, and that's nothing new to Star Fox, and I enjoy getting a lock on and obliterating the enemy directly in front of me. I also really enjoy planting a Nova Bomb to the right spot on the touchscreen and seeing all those clusters of enemies go down in one fell swoop, ending the mission very quickly. But chasing a missile down by following these beacons and only getting a certain amount of time to do that before the mission ends in failure, or listening to Rob for the 50th time tell me how to barrel roll inside a mothership, I quickly got sick of all of that, and this is 95% of the whole game. With the missile levels being the awfully bare exception, there's no on-rail level exploration. It's just these square arenas that only get a different coat of paint whenever you progress, and they're all based off of Star Fox 64 levels, so in my case, it's like I'm playing a neutered version of that classic. And I want to call bullshit on something. More than a handful of times, right as the stage began, I took an immediate hit because the game seems to randomly determine enemy locations on the map, and that could be directly in front of your path as soon as you gain control. That's a load of shit, and could cost me a game over for something completely out of my hands. Again, only bringing that up because it's happened a number of times to me. Now this bit's sort of minor, but I also don't like how Fox can't power his ship up without either relying on his buddies or by getting to a certain part of whatever story you're in. That was one of my favorite parts of the classic games, getting twin blasters, shields, all kinds of extra stuff all in real time and laying waste to everything right then and there. It's a tradition as old as time, but in Star Fox Command, that's not the case. I can only hope I go the right way so that I can power my ship up. Alright, the gameplay's out of the way. Can we talk about this story now for a second here? Okay, before we do that, I want to call attention to something. There's no voice acting in Star Fox Command. Characters are back to using those weird animal noises from the SNES game. It's nostalgic, but Command also gives you the ability to use your own voice recordings. Don't get too excited. It's not like you can fully voice everyone here. It just takes a small sample of your voice and garbles it up into a distorted mess that changes the pitch depending on the character. It's still a notable feature. You can give the game a little factoid. Did you know that a barrel roll was not actually a barrel roll, but an aileron roll? But for some immature fun, you can also use this as a voice sample. Now we got something I like to call Star Fox Belch on Command. I'm 29. Hey, roll your eyes at me all you want. It makes this game's plot a lot more entertaining because what the shit is going on here? Command is set after Star Fox Assault. It's a dark time for the Star Fox crew as the team has inexplicably disbanded. Slippy went off to become his own man and find love in his life. Falco was bored and left to look for the same kind of thrill he experienced while in Star Fox, so he left Star Fox, and Crystal and Fox split up because of this corny-ass soap opera drama shit. That's the best way to describe Star Fox Command's story. It's a fucking soap opera, and it doesn't know the meaning of the word ridiculous. Firstly, the fact that the Star Fox team has split up means nothing. As soon as the new threat in the Lilat system emerges, the Angler Army, the most inconsequential villains in the history of Star Fox by far, Fox can get in contact with his old friends, and it's like nothing ever changed. Everyone's welcome with open arms. Then why in God's name did they split up in the first place? Oh, but that's just one of the many pathways in this game, folks. Star Fox Command gets all Shadow the Hedgehog in this bitch with multiple routes leading to different stories with radically different endings. You can end up not reuniting Star Fox at all and join up with Star Wolf to take down the Angler threat. At one point, out of nowhere, you can see what Falco is doing with his time and take part in an adventure that has nothing to do with anything. And oh my god, poor Crystal. This game has something out for her. The reasoning for her separation from Fox was because Fox was afraid something might happen to her in the battlefield, which is absurd. So I guess Slippy, Falco, and Peppy were expendable, you furry fuckhead. So there could either be more unnecessary sexual tension between Fox and Crystal as the two attempt to make amends, or Crystal can be a total pariah and ditch Fox for Panther, which causes her to get shunned by the entire Lilac community, which then causes her to ditch Panther and Star Wolf altogether and become a lone bounty hunter, changing her name from Crystal to Cursed. Jesus Christ, what the fuck is this? And I say poor Crystal, poor Fox. I mean, his justification for kicking Crystal off the team is shit, but he gets his ass emotionally handed to him depending on the story. He doesn't take Crystal leaving him well. Look at him! This is the same calm and collected badass from Star Fox 64, Adventure, and Assault, and now he's been reduced to a mumbling crybaby, inviting Falco over to drink his sorrows away, and leaving Star Fox at one point to become a G0 racer. What is this game? It's lost, that's what it is. There's no clear-cut definitive plot, instead we have multiple unfocused storylines that sacrifice coherency for the sake of I don't fucking know what. Character interaction's still there, but the quality varies on the pathway. Every time Fox and Crystal communicate, no matter the story, it's the same romantic he said, she said bullshit, and everything else is a bit on the generic side. It feels like some personality was lost in the writing process here, where I don't see the Star Fox crew, or Star Wolf for that matter. I just see a bunch of interchangeable heroes that don't really match up to what's been established previously. There's a lot of different endings. A standard playthrough can take, I'm gonna say 2 hours, could be more, could be less. But I only made it through about 5 endings because I couldn't take it anymore. Not so much for the bizarre, unrelated multiple stories, but because I got bored, honestly. Thankfully, Star Fox Command is not one of those games where you have to get all the endings to unlock the true finale. I'd lose my mind faster here than in Shadow the Hedgehog if that were the case. And I know 2 hours doesn't sound like a lot of time, but it feels like an eternity here. You're doing the same shit repeatedly, no matter what route you take. The characters change, but gameplay scenarios do not. There's not a whole lot of things going on here. Star Fox Command offers little in replayability. If you really want to see all the alternate endings, and I don't blame you if you want to, with how much cheese oozes out of this, you can find them easily on YouTube and whatnot, because having to do this kind of shit over and over and over again is not worth it, no matter how laughably bad this soap opera is. I'm glad to see it's all R-Wing gameplay and nothing but R-Wings are just one thing. What you do with them is an entirely different issue. At last, we're closing in at the end of the Star Fox marathon. It took 10 years after Command, but a new Star Fox title finally saw the light of day, and it was released on the Wii U. And I'm pretty anxious about this one because I personally haven't played it myself yet, there's that, but like a few other titles in the series, I was surrounded by people that did, and opinions were pretty mixed on this one. So, with that said, I'll see you guys for the finale of the Star Fox Marathon with Star Fox Zero on the Wii U. Thank you guys for watching, have yourselves a fantastic night, and take care.